Hello everybody, welcome back. We are back in Sandbox. We're in Old Pinnacove, as you can see. And I was thinking, what does Old Pinnacove need? And my immediate thought was a petrol station, a gas station, a little convenience store, perhaps a bathroom, takeaway area in the store. So what I've done is I've spent a bit of time setting it out. Counting blocks is not the most exciting thing in the world, so I thought, you know what, we just gonna count the blocks and we are going to then build. So it's not a huge gas station, but as we know, Old Pinnacove is not that big. So we'll have place for 2 pumps with access on both sides. So that's 4 vehicles at a time. I think that should be enough. We have parking for 6 vehicles in the front next to the store, and we have parking for 6 vehicles at the back. So if you want to just dash in and grab a snack or a cup of coffee, it's not a problem. So welcome to, I don't know what I'm going to call it. What do you suggest? Stop and go, snack and fill up? Yeah, I have no idea. So I was playing with the door. You can see if we go onto this, we now have the option for the tinted glass, smoked glass, or the milk glass. So I've gone for the tinted glass, and I've tinted it to sort of the middle grey so that it looks good and keeps a bit of the sun out. Now, as we know, we don't have automatic doors, but we do have doors that open and close. And I've got an image. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at petrol pumps. And I was thinking, you know, that might work as a filling nozzle. If we can stick it on the side of a petrol pump, we could probably make a plan. So yes, welcome to my brain. So we've got, it's not a huge store, but again, small station. And if I call it petrol station, I apologize. This is just me, and in South Africa, we call them petrol stations. We call the stuff you put in the cars petrol. So I will do my best to think gas, but I'll probably be saying petrol. Now, again, I'm building this on what we normally have here, and more often than not, the roadway is sort of a concrete brick. I just don't like the color of the concrete in this game, so we've gone for a stone, and it does give it a sort of a slightly used look. It just doesn't have that sort of blue-gray that you would expect. It does show the white up really nicely, and we do have an arrow that we can use in our parking. So if we look here, we have an arrow, which is awesome. If we I think, let's see. Yeah, that's, we can make it bigger if we need, if you know what I mean. It's not quite what we're looking for, but again, we are gonna work with what we've got. So that's basically what we can use. In the meantime, I'll just delete that and put this back to what it was. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is build our little shop. But let's build outwards. I've selected the flintstone, because I've got an image that I'm using as a reference that I quite like. I don't think it is a South African garage, but let's play with it. Now I want to go up quite high. Let's go up to there, and then we can see how it looks. And there's a little kickback here because I want to put in, we always have a little a section at the garage where we can swap out gas bottles. Now once again, I have an image of gas bottles. How's that? Now that will be perfect. You know? Ha! It's not 3D. It's the best I can do, but it is pretty dang cool. And we do have, I don't know where it is. We have a fire extinguisher. So we can actually put our fire extinguisher on the wall here. Because, you know, gas bottles, fire, probably not a good idea to put them all in the same place. So we will have the fire extinguisher as a 3D on the wall. So I think that's pretty good. There are a few things I'm going to steal. Dang. Let's move this down a little bit so everybody can reach it. There we go. And then you can come and swap out your gas bottles. And I've put it in a little corner here because I wanted it to sort of look like it was 3D, and the dark helps a little bit. So carrying on with walls, let's hop up on here and keep going. I have got an alleyway behind here because obviously every business needs somewhere to put their rubbish, and as you can see there are a few little places there with grass sticking through, and that is for a reason, simply because I needed to measure the middle of the lot, and I thought that would work. I think I'm going to move this door out of the way, otherwise it's just going to irritate. And then we can put the door in and put in some nice big windows. So your local fuel station, we've got quite a few different brands available in South Africa. There we go. Is that even? No, it's not. Or is it? I think that is. Let's just check. or 1 point? Oh, it is. It's in the middle. Awesomeness. And then we will have a little roof. Now the roof I am going to probably do in metal. We're going to do a sloped roof, and we're going to take the slope right down so that we actually have okay, let's see. We can flip it if needs be. And then we're going to resize it like this because I'm a coward. Okay. Let's go inside and see the damage. Oh boy. I did a number, didn't I? And then once we've got roofs and windows in, we can then do no man, that way. Can we please have it on snapping, because that's just going to make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so that is basically a little roof so that you can actually step out, but I think again I'm going to open it just a little bit so it covers that area there. A little bit more. That will work. And then we can support it. We have columns, but they are very chunky. This we don't have the option of anything but wood. We don't even have the option of plastic. So we're just gonna have to use what we can get. That should work. Might not put them right there, but let's put them right there for this very minute. Okay, that will work. And then if we come up here, we have access to the shop. Awesome. I'm going to move these, I think, to there. Better. And we probably can use these in front here as well, so that cars don't crash into it. Alright, then we need some windows, but we all know the windows are terrible in this game. So I'm going to, okay, before I do that, let's just paint, and I'm going really bright colors with this. Nice bright whites. And the roof is also white, so I'm happy with that. I think I want to take this up further because I want to put a window in here. And then once we've figured out the windows, we can figure out the rest of it. Now, somewhere here we've got a really big window. I think it's that one. If I take shutters off, windowsill off, bars off and make it plastic. How big are these? Not bad. What did I miss with my taking off? Ah, that. Better. Oh, what am I doing? Copy, paste. So that's not too bad as a storefront, and we've got the same tint on the window. Do we have the same tint on the window? No, we can't. We don't have that option. That's just irritating. No, we don't. Damn it. Oh well. Nothing we can do about that. Now, how big is that? We can probably fit, yes, 3 of them in there. That'll work. Let's see what it looks like from inside. Not bad. And we can put some signage and some fun stuff there. Okay. I'm going to take the top row of bricks off, because this is going to be a slightly pitched roof, so we might as well play with that. Oh, I don't even know how high we're going, so I'd rather do it this way. Here. That is 3 blocks. I'm going to go this far, and we can always take off as we need. Okay, that works. So any other suggestions of what Pinnacove is lacking? Okay, our little neighborhood store, so we will probably use, well, I suppose it can be set in this area. No, we probably can't, because I don't think the lots are big enough here. So it is what it is. I don't know if I want a second door. I think I'm going to keep this. That worked pretty well. I don't know about this section. This is going to be the bathroom, so let's just leave it like that for now. But that's pretty good, and I want to use, what colors should we go? Why am I doing that? I think maybe the rough plaster. It's got a hint of grey to it. That's not too bad. So that the shops are slightly differentiated. I quite like that. I think I'll do that. Now, the only thing we need is roof. Now, I think, again, I'm going to fill this in. Because it doesn't have to be that high. Come on. So you've got like a little bit more. again, I'm going for 3D, so I want that to be sort of like a little, almost a dim area, so those bottles look a bit more 3D than they actually are. I think that'll work. And then we need to put 3 roofs on here. This is going to be fun. Should I have windows in here? No. We can always put tall ones. Oh boy, we're going to need 3 roofs. That's going to be fun. Because it's one from here to there. Damn it. Wrong way. I hate that it defaults back. I can always just throw it on and make it bigger, I suppose, but seeing as we already have that roof, we wanted it that way, didn't we? Yes, we did. Let's copy that, throw it on here. We'll move it. And then we just need one more. Awesome. And I'm quite happy to use snapping because it works better with roofs. Yeah, we'll just take those bricks out at the back. And then we just need one more. For the medal. Nope, needs to be a little bit bigger. It's fine. Resize. Is that right? Is that lined up? No, it's not. It's probably easier to line it up inside. Okay, not quite the right size, but it'll be okay. Awesome. Now we can just go ahead and do that. And we can probably use these windows. Will they fit? Wow. They don't match up with the windows down there, but they match up with the windows there. So I think that'll work. Do we want more here? Let's take that wall out there. we can put a... Ew, that's bad. We can put a ceiling in the bathroom. Three. Okay, that's in the middle. Alright, now the question I have is, what color are we going to add to this? Because obviously we've got the brick, we've got the white roof, which I think actually looks pretty good. But what I'd like to do is, most petrol stations, fuel stations have the neon lights around the whole place, and it won't fit on the roof. Of course it won't. Why would it fit on the roof? You know? It's fine. And then if we change that, what color are we going with? We can go with red. Although it's not a very bright red, is it? But we can probably do a thing. We've got blue, we've got green. So okay, say for example I use that. What we can probably do is just help it along a little bit. Ew. Maybe. Let me know. That's definitely not the right green. Ugh. Yeah, we won't be going for green. Maybe blue? How about just straight, can't mess with it red. But yes, you can, because that doesn't change the color of the strip, which is unfortunate. It just changes the color of the light. Alright, and if we move this little strippy down, it's a white stripe. Dang it. I tried, guys, I tried. Okay, well, let me know. What color should we go? Because we can literally add a strip of color behind it. It's not going to change the actual light itself. And I got all excited about that, but you know, it is what it is. So there's that. The next thing we want to do is the actual pump. Now, from what I understand in my limited knowledge of fuel pumps, go away, thank you. Let's start with a chrome and see what size we want. I think 1 meter. That's pretty dark. That's not going to help me. How about if we do that? Oh, that's quite Depends. I can always change it, but that's my thought. And then we also have an image of a pump. We have a picture. I stole this off a site. Well, I didn't steal it. I downloaded it off a site. And it's not bad, except it's grey. Okay, let's see what this looks like. That's pretty good. We would have to, walking up to the petrol pump, da 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 da. Hello, is that big enough? I think it is. Alright, we are going to have to take that off. How many is that? That's 4 across and 4 up. Okay. And then okay, that'll work. And then we need another one of those on that side. Ha! It's a little narrow. I cannot lie to you, it's a little narrow, and the red doesn't work. So we are going to have to maybe use the white. Because we have that image there, just move it up this is on grid snapping. There we go. That's the start of a nice little thing. My little friend, where's my little friend? There's my little friend. I think I need that much. And do we want it white? Actually, the top here is grey, so let's go with that colour. Nope. That'll work. Sorry. We will have to make a few adjustments. But that'll work. Once I get one right, we should be fine. Okay, we have a petrol pump. It's a little skinny. It should be a little chunkier. Should we go chunkier? Or does that look alright? And then we need our little friend again. And we need it to just go straight up. right again. Damn it. Because we've got the image there, it doesn't like painting through the image. So, yes. Okay. I'm not going to build all 4 corners, but that sort of just gives a little bit of weight. And we can always put another block. I just want to move this up a smidgen because now that red's peeking through. Okay, that gives it a little bit of weight, so it feels like it's being held up. Now comes the fun part. Are we going to be able to put a nozzle on here? A real nozzle? Why do I have to put it all the way over here? Alright, can we make it lighter? Can we move it? I don't know if this is gonna work, but it's an idea. Although the nozzle's here, isn't it? Okay. I think this is going to be too wide. Damn it. Just not. Let's just get it straight again. There we go. Sort of 3D nozzle. Only problem is it's sticking out the back. Okay, it's a thought, let me know. I'll also play around with different things, but that's not bad. And then we need a roof here as well. We can make a single roof over here. You can see I'm sounding really, I don't want it 1, I want it 0, but it is what it is. Now apparently you can put it on the ground and then lift it. That could work, and because I laid it on the ground, damn it, we know that it fits properly, but I would like to size it up because if you think about it, there are cars on both sides. There we go. That. It's at a slight angle, a problem. Maybe. Can we... What am I doing? I'm just hitting keys. That's better. That will work. Alright, and then if we use these same posts, and as I say, I'm currently just using white, and we can always put colour. Doesn't look too bad actually. What do you think of that? We have sort of a gas station. Now the question would be, do we put what, 2 of these? Maybe an idea, 1, 2. What was that? I think that was 4 by 6. Alright, if we put, let's just change the color, shall we? Oh, wonderful. Am I going mad? Is that correct? Yay! That works. And so there was 1 block gap there. More sense, doesn't it? I think that makes more sense, and it just adds a little bit to it. About that much. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for borrowing this image of a gas pump, but it doesn't have any markings on it, so I thought that would be okay. It does to me feel a little narrow, but you know, this is like the new improved gas pump. Doesn't need doesn't need more than that. You know, I'm thinking, how about next to this, what about if we put an auto teller in here? once again we can probably fill this in and just consider it a thing. We can fine-tune the details. I do have, once again, borrowed from the internet, where is my poster? There it is. We've got that one, and then we have that one. I prefer the colors on that, but I actually prefer the shape of that one. So I think I'm going to use that one, but we need to build it out a bit. So let's see what we can do. That's one. Oh, I don't want to move it, I want to resize it just a smidgen. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will work. How many have we got here? 7. Of course we've got 7. Well, you know what? We can always have 6. And then we have an even number. We will need maybe that. Oh, that's shiny. Dang it. Sorry. Just having one of those button days. Something like that. So we actually have officially a 3D version of an ATM. The only problem we have is that is very dark. How will that look? Oh boy. That's not bad. Then we can run this back there. We don't really have any cover for it, but they should be fine. Then we can put a light strip above it. Probably something like this. So that you can actually see what you're doing there. What do you think? Quite like that. So we have the gas bottles, we have cash, and then we have a shop to go shopping in. So I think that is going to be very cool. And then I have to think about this. Is this going to be wide enough? Or do I go with double? Let me know. Do I make this chunkier? Because it would just be a matter of, let's move it out this way. Oh no, not that one. This one. Is that better, or does that now look too thick? Obviously I have to fill that little gap in there, build these up. But for me that feels more like an ATM to me, a gas pump. And it's just a matter of pulling that out, which works fine, and then moving this out so it's once again in the middle. I actually quite like that. Okay, so I'm going to have to redo this whole one anyhow, so that's okay. But if we've got this, then we are going to probably need stuff like, well, here we have like guys with watering cans who come and wet your windscreen and wipe it down. We sometimes have stands of oil, but that's moved inside now because they do get sort of taken. We have tire pressure, so we would probably do the watering can in whatever color we would have, and we can always put a little stand here, and then a roll of paper towels. We would the garden hose wouldn't be a bad thing for the air. We would just have to like figure out how we're going to do that, but that's not bad. Yes, that definitely makes it look more substantial to me. So I think, let me know what you think, but I think in the meantime I'm going to build those up chunkier. And then going inside here, my thought process is we will have the checkout counter here somewhere. I'll have to fix this whole wall here, but I will. And then the bathrooms, we'll have a bathroom here and perhaps a quick counter here with a couple of burgers and toasties and stuff like that. And we'll be playing Supermarket Simulator in House Flipper, because we are going to need to get a whole little mini mart set up in there. I told my son what I was doing and he was like, there's a game for that. And I was like, I know. Let's go white and see how bright it is. You know, sometimes you go into these places and it's super bright. So that'll work. And we can maybe take these windows, and will they fit? Two of them will fit. Maybe? No. Dang it. We put them right up against the wall here. Yes. 3 of them will fit. Sorry. Like that. And then you've got the light coming in there as well. I think that works. And then of course flooring, I mean, liner? because you know that's basically what you're gonna get. But we don't have any lino, I don't think. No, we don't. That's a pity. It will just have to be the fancy stuff, but we can always make it look like lino, you know. I am thinking squares. I'm also thinking, yeah, no, that's a little too retro. The garage looks a little bit newer than that, so that's not going to work. So we're going to have to go for tiles. Maybe we just go for a concrete. How will concrete work if we do that? That's not bad, actually. That actually does work. I'm just going to have to play with it and figure that all out. But I mean, if we want, we can change everything. We can color pretty much this whole garage. Can be red, blue, green, yellow. Let me know what you think. Give me a color options, because then everything can basically be colored, obviously except for the fuel pumps, which come in that color. So I think I'm going to leave it here for today. Please give me a color. All you have to do is drop your suggestions of a color in the comment. So red, blue, green, yellow. Let me know. And I hope you guys have a lovely weekend. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got this far, please subscribe. And take care of yourselves. Bye for now.